very warm welcome to all the attendees. My name is Rashika and I'll be the moderator during this webinar. The topic of today's webinar is Revenue and Customer Analytics for Wealth and Securities Organizations. The presenters of today's webinar are Mr. Himanshu Gupta, Head for BFSI West at Qlik, Mr. Hrishikesh Deshmukh, Senior Principal Consultant at Exponentia, and Mr. Bhatia, Data Analyst at Exponentia. Before we begin the session, I'd like to share a couple of instructions. All the participants will be kept on mute during the webinar. However, we would like to keep it interactive. For this, we'll have poll questions in short intervals where a question will be displayed on your screen for 30 to 40 seconds. Kindly submit your response within the stipulated time. We will also have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. But you may raise your question anytime during the webinar in the chat box and our presenters will answer them at the end. Since we all are working remotely, there can be some technical difficulties that we may face. So kindly bear with us in times of such occurrences. With this, I'd like to invite Mr. Hrishikesh to begin the webinar.
Thank you, Rashika, for the warm introduction, and a very warm welcome to every one of you who have joined us on this very interesting webinar that we are going to do today. The topic of today's webinar is how can we drive growth through analytics for wealth and securities firm. Briefly, what we are going to cover as an agenda are what are some of the best practices that securities and wealth management firms should follow from analytics point of view, why it is important to drive the agenda of analytics at securities and asset management firms, some of the success stories that we have been able to implement through our technology journey with those organizations, and we will also have a live demo of some of the use cases that we are going to talk today. And last but not the least, we will also help you understand if you want to start your analytics journey, where you can start and how should you start, right? And of course, we will have Q&A sessions. If there are any questions, we will be happy to take it towards the end of the webinar. During the webinar also, you can use the chat section where you can put in your questions, and at the end, we will take them. So with this, I will also sort of want you to introduce ourselves to you. So some of you might be joining our webinar series for the first time and may not know about Exponentia and Qlik very well. So I would just take a couple of minutes to introduce both Qlik as well as Exponentia to you. Exponentia.ai, we are an AI tech firm. Our solution offerings especially revolve around three areas. First of it is AI solutions on speech and text analytics. Second is active intelligence through smart business intelligence as well as automation. And third is the managed services part, where we manage all of what you build into this AI as well as active intelligence part. We support analytics BAU, we support MLOps, we support BI modernization for many of our clients. From product standpoint, we have our proprietary solution OneTap, which is a sales enablement platform and has many modules within it for AI as well as sales intelligence and enablement. What we have delivered and are delivering are very strong use cases on sales digital transformation as well as customer intelligence, and some of these sales use cases fall on sales agent enablement, sales productivity improvement, pitch analytics, adherence and compliance, and competitor intelligence. All of this uses our proprietary algorithms on speech text analytics as well as some ML models, along with very strong BI footprint that we have. On the customer side, we have several other use cases where we have cross-sell, upsell, collection forecasting, churn analytics, feedback analytics through NLP, which are some of the popular use cases. From processes point of view, we are a very strong organization from information security as well as business continuity point of view, where we have ISO certifications on both of these areas. We are 250 plus strong organization today, spread across leading business centers in the world, London, Mumbai, and Singapore being some of them. We are headquartered in Mumbai. To deliver all of these agenda on and use cases on analytics, we are partnered with leading firms in the world, and some of these are Qlik that we are presenting this workshop or webinar with you, webinar for you today. Then Microsoft, Databricks, and AWS are some of the other leading partners that we have. Now, this is about Exponentia, but I would also like to take this opportunity to talk about Qlik. Qlik has been a global giant on analytics forefront. It has served 50,000 plus customers globally. It has been in the leaders quadrant by Gartner in last 11 years subsequently, and it has been a very sort of a prolific player when it comes to delivering AI analytics and BI use cases for BFSI as well as wealth and AMCs. And I'll talk about this more when we sort of do our use cases as well as demo and talk about the success stories. In a nutshell, what Qlik offers you is right from onboarding your data to driving actions, and that is why what Qlik and we together call it is a active intelligence practice that is going to set the analytics world so to speak on fire. Right, so this is closing all the gaps that you see between onboarding the data to delivering actions and outcomes. This is what Qlik enables you to bridge, right? And we will talk about this, as I said, in detail and at length, and show you the demo of some of these things in the sessions and in the session that follows. So now this is about us, Qlik as well as Exponentia. Let us look at some of the clients we have served so far together in the upcoming slide. So as you can see here, we have the best of best names, largely from India, but we have put together this slide focused on India. That's why we see most of the names from India, but there are enterprises across these sectors, and we are, as you can see, very heavy on the BFSI space. So we are working with banks, we are working with insurance players, and more importantly, we are working with securities and wealth management firms, as you can see on this particular slide. We will also see some of the use cases that we have delivered for them, as I said, in the success stories part today. Now, coming back to the importance of analytics for securities and wealth management firm, and why they need to augment the benefits of analytics, and why it is pertinent for them today more than ever, is what we are going to see in this particular section. So if we look at the journey so far in the last 20 years, the clients have changed. 20 years ago, baby boomers who had financial purposes for investment, they were the clients of the organizations. Today we have Generation Y, Generation Z, and their purpose has also changed. If you look at the value proposition that the organizations were bringing to the clients, were very different from what we see today. Earlier, mainly we were offering equities and bonds. Today, there are so many other options like private equity, passive investments, switchable investment, and who knows, tomorrow or even today, we are living in a world of cryptos, right? Then there is interaction that has evolved over a period of time. Earlier, it was just physical contacts or at best telephone. Today, it's all virtual, and more so with the pandemic. Now there is another evolution that has parallelly happened and taken over every industry, and wealth and securities is sort of no longer alien to it, which is the digital and technology, right? So everything that we do today is recorded in some or the other system. Everything that is recorded in some or the other system has a sort of potential of being analyzed, and because of that outcome of that analysis, there are potential benefits that are going to be reaped. And if you don't do it today, probably your competitors will, and that is actually the competitive advantage of today's world. And of course, there is the talent and regulation that has of course evolved. Talent is costly, talent is difficult to find as we go on, or look at the landscape. And then regulations, earlier there were quite a few, and now there are so many more. And all of this sort of to navigate this complex landscape of what we see today as wealth and securities management firms see it today, there is sort of one sort of bright spot that we have seen, right? As the needs have changed, interactions and modes have changed, what has remained what has to remain same is the services that you're offering. We can move to the next one, Bishoy. And if you look at the services, right, more and more is driven by the analytics. If you look at the center of this particular graphic, in the services part, you have data, and there is more and more data that is getting generated today, which is bringing scalability, which is bringing the insights to sort of do it better, do it more efficiently, effectively, and so on. And that is why if you augment the benefits of analytics into your services, it is all the more probable that you will serve the needs of your customers well, and you will also drive your interactions more effectively, right? And this is going to be the road ahead, right? Analytics is going to be at the heart of wealth management services. Moving to the next one, where we just look at how the industry is going to shape up. And here, if we look at, there are some niche players. They have always been there. There are retail banks and asset management companies which have always been there. And then there is now entrance of big tech. So like Alphabet or Google, Alibaba, and all of these, Microsoft, all of these big technology companies, they are also sort of spreading their wings into the asset management and securities kind of businesses. So if they come into this business, what will happen is the sector is going to be transformed. It is already getting transformed through technology. So basically, the underlining point here is that technology is going to decide the future of wealth organizations, right? And if that is so, then probably there will be consolidation. There will be sort of sort of spread of technology across the incumbents. And if somebody doesn't want to do it today, probably they will be at a high risk, going into this new landscape of wealth and securities management. So this is just one section we wanted to highlight why, as an incumbent in this particular industry, you need to augment the analytics roadmap at your organization. In the next section, if we can move, we will also see some of these use cases that you can drive at your organization. And this is something that we have already discussed here, that technology powerhouses, customer and domain focus of niche players, and large technology network, as well as financial stability of the larger banks, is going to drive the consolidation and the shaping up of this particular industry that we are talking about. Yeah. So we will move to the next section, where we will see some of the success stories. But before that, this is a sort of poll question where you can tell us at your organization, are you using any analytics platforms so far, or it is not there? We just want to know this so that we can also shape up some of the communication that we have in this session accordingly. So feel free to enter your responses. Thank you for your responses. And now we can move to the next section that we have, which is the success stories. And I invite Himanshu to take up this section and introduce some of the success stories that we have done through Qlik at various organizations.
Thanks, Rishi. I think some really very valid points raised by you. That infusion of data and analytics is, totally changing the landscape, of the wealth management industry, right? And the expectations of the next generation of investors, and the ever, so to say, challenging prospects of making the most out of your investor wealth is something which is keeping the the wealth managers on their toes. And I think this is one area where the data strategy, and specifically the infusion of analytics can really help them make better decisions, right? So we are all aware of the deluge of data, right? Almost every system, in this value chain, what used to be largely driven, with manual processes, has moved to a digital ecosystem, over last maybe a decade or so, right? Which has meant, a huge flood of data, and the 3 V's of data that we talk about, the volume, the variety, and the velocity of data. So how do you process so much of data at light speed and be able to take those right decisions to generate returns for your investors' wealth? So let's take some of examples how some of our clients have benefited by using Qlik for taming this data deluge and making it work in their advantage. So first one I want to talk about is a very large asset management company, among the top 10 asset management companies in the country, rated AAA, and having interest and services in equity, capital markets, and asset management. So I think they were, again, the challenge was more or less the same. As I said, large volumes of data coming from internal, transaction systems, as well as a lot of third-party agencies, Crave, and Carvi and others, right, which you have to collate and be able to make sense out of all this data coming into your premises. How do you manage such a large amount of data? How do you automate the processing of this data, and how do you automate generation of these insights? A manual process would typically take anywhere between 10 to 12 days, when you would want your sales force going up and running in a day's time or so, right? So that's the kind of time nobody, such a large organization can just not afford to waste. And on top of that, with so much amount of data being available, how do you compare trends? How do you compare, do the historical data analysis, specifically when it comes to investing decision? How do you see how a particular asset class has been moving, correlate it with some of the other market factors, and be able to take some quick and prompt decisions. So this is where Clicksense comes into the picture. Clicksense really allows them to correlate data coming from different sources, be able to put all that data together, allow the free mingling of data, right, and take these processes away from the manual Excel based processes, which are typically prone to error, have a lot of complexity, and the quality of the feed itself is questionable. So you automate all of it, right? What this means is you get a 360-degree view of your customer's profile, the performance of your portfolio managers. They have a very clear visibility of the product wise view of the assets under their management, the revenue that they're contributing, the clients they are serving, and the overall trend, how their overall portfolio is improving. As I said, a very hawk-eye view of their customers, specifically how the specific customers are behaving, what's the trend means, how to be able to reach out to the customer and have a more meaningful discussion, which is aligned to their specific investment preferences, right? And overall, just to provide overall, what we say, a 360-degree view of customers, business, services, and products, improving the overall efficiency and profitability of the organization, right? And I think some of the key KPIs which these organizations have been measuring, and by getting all of this data, includes the assets under management, the total overall sales, the assets which they're closing, the overall performance, right from the individual sales people on field, right up to the topmost level, and then be able to break it in terms of schemes, in terms of zones, in terms of geographies, and be able to slice and dice on that data, right? Benchmark their performance against some of the best industry standards, and I think this has really helped them improve a lot of their business KPIs, which would not have been possible in the erstwhile day of manual Excel based or other manual reporting mechanisms, right? Another similar example is for another client. They are a wealth management business. So they manage the investment opportunities for some of their very large so to say high net worth clients. And again, I think the focus is to maintain a very hawk-eye view of how your investments are performing, what kind of returns you are generating for your customers, and what are the kind of investment opportunities which are presenting themselves in the market, which you can leverage to grow the wealth for your customers. Again, the manual Excel based way of analyzing data just would not cut in today's cutthroat and high paced environment. So that's another client who used Clicksense to basically automate their overall data pipelines, be able to transform that data into a single place where, as I said, they allow the free intermingling of data, be able to correlate all that data, and then perform the kind of analytics which provide them useful insights. And the results that they have got in terms of a comprehensive analytics which is available for all functions and hierarchies, The reports are available to all business stakeholders at the right time so that they can take the right decisions. And overall a data driven based decision making, which is something which is absolutely crucial in today's investing environment. So these were two of our just out of multiple success stories, these were two of the key clients who have benefited by using Clicksense. And one example I would specifically want to take is another one of our large client, and one of the largest stock exchanges in APAC, National Stock Exchange, who are extensively using Qlik and analyzing the the hoard of data that they create in terms of every transaction data which gets analyzed through Qlik, and they are running their entire surveillance and fraud management system, which is based on Qlik platform. So basically each and every transaction that is being executed by National Stock Exchange, that goes through a very stringent chain of rules and checks to make sure that the transaction is legitimate, it is not flouting any of the, so to say, rules or policies. And that is something which is being made possible because the Clicksense platform can scale to such levels where it can address such a large volume of data which is being generated by one of the largest stock exchanges. So that's in a nutshell. I wanted to share with you some of those success stories, and I think Rishi, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Himanshu, for introducing us to these success stories. And probably our attendees will be interested to know how these success stories actually play a very important role that you have highlighted, but how they really look like. As to, if we talk about Clicksense, how does it really work? How will it help me analyze the portfolio? How will it help me analyze the RM performance? How will it help me take those decisions that I am not able to take data based, or showing a real cause for a particular action and so on? Probably this is something that we would want to show as well in this upcoming session, which is the demos. So in this particular section, we will have the demo of this Clicksense dashboard, which is custom built for wealth management and AMC organizations, where we have multiple use cases that Himanshu referred to, some of the success stories that he also had discussed with us just now. They will also sort of be visible to you as to how they really play out in the real world. So this is, as I said, this is the Clicksense dashboard, where we have a UI which is showing you all the numbers that are important for a wealth management business leader or decision maker to look at on a day-to-day basis to make their decisions. So at the top, what you see are the KPIs, the key metrics. So something like revenue for the current month, meetings that the team had over this month, AUM as it stands today, revenue from say top 5 customers, revenue from top 100 families you are managing, and overall number of families that the firm is managing, right? So all these things are sort of indicative of growth. Some of them are also indicating of your operational performance, like number of meetings. Now Qlik has sort of made this very simple to not just look at the numbers but also deduce insights from the numbers. So very small example but very effective. If you look at the colors of these numbers, you will notice that some of the numbers are red, others are blue. Reason for that is that the red is indicating that there is a performance issue. So here 33.91 is the current month, which is July 20 performance, which is lower than the prior month's revenue, and hence it is highlighted as a red. So you don't have to sort of worry about or analyze the numbers. It is sort of evident through color coding that we need to sort of drive our attention to these particular numbers, right? So this is a very small example. I will have more such examples coming in this demo, but to start with, I just wanted to sort of start with that. Now if you look at the graphs below, you will also notice that we have seen the number for July is lower. The graph below, which is a bar chart, is also showing the same thing, right? But as a decision maker, you would want to understand the reason for this dip, right? If the revenue is dipping, what is the reason for that, so that I can avoid the cause, take some decisions, and plug those holes where the revenue is getting drained. So if we just click this particular bar of July, what it will give me is the composition of revenue that my team leads have generated, right? So this is very intuitive that if my overall revenue is this, what is the composition by the team leads. Now here I can look at who are the team leads who are bringing me the best revenue. So TL3 and TL6 appears to be the sort of top two by a long way. And we can also notice that when I selected July, the entire dashboard changed for July, right? So this is like a sort of vision that is getting provided, and we are restricting data for only July so that we can analyze that in a greater detail. So now if we look at the chart beside this revenue chart, which is the fees collected chart, now we will notice something very strange, which is for TL6 we have a negative fees, right? And typically fees cannot be negative for the organization. This means that we have paid out something, and this sort of is or can be a matter of concern. So if we look at TL6 now, which was one of the top performance, if you remember, right, we can again click this and identify what is the cause of this negative fees, right? So we just click it, we go below, and we now identify within the team of TL6, which is team lead 6, who are the relationship managers who are working under him, and what are the sort of performances on the fees side for them, right? So this negative fees is actually attributed largely to RM23, and this is again evident from here. And we would also like to know if RM23 is the person who is contributing that, probably what are the customers or products which are contributing to that negative fees. So here we know the product, direct debt and third party PMS are the two products. If now this is the case, I would also want to know which is the customer or the family which is related to this particular relationship manager as well as the product and so on, right? So now we know that family 1083 is the family that is actually contributing to this particular negative fees, because of which also our revenue for the month of July were lower than the previous month. So what we just wanted to drive here was that in a matter of simple clicks, you are able to identify a cause for as big a question as why your revenue is lower from previous month, right? So that is a very, very powerful capability that Qlik offers you, that in a simple business discovery through some clicks you are able to unearth the root cause of it, right? Once you do that, what happens is it should not stop here, because there has to be an action that is following this discovery. And hence what you can do is you can collaborate with your team. You can collaborate and tell certain of your people that this situation has happened, and let us look at it, let us review it in our next meeting, or you can look at it and come back to me with reasons. And for that, what we have here is a collaborative notes feature. So once you do this discovery, what you can do is you can share this insight with your team. And what we are doing here is adding this particular graph in this particular chart, and we can tag one of our team members. So Bishoy is just tagging me, and once he does that, what happens is I will get a notification saying that such and such thing has happened, can you look into this? And then I can sort of do my own research, I can find out the reasons and then revert to Bishoy as to what was the cause of this particular thing. So let me just I have got this notification. If I just open the note and look at it, what we are showing you here is that in almost real time you can collaborate with your team members, and because of that the business discovery as well as the action is made or is enabled for the betterment of the performance. Yeah, so I will just reply to Bishoy. Yeah, so I have just typed it out and I am sending it, so you will see it on Bishoy's screen. That I have just typed it out. Yeah, so this way you can you don't have to sort of go out of the dashboard, you don't have to sort of send your data on any other platforms. You can just collaborate right here, right? So that's the main advantage that we have because of Clicksense, right? So that is just one of the things. Another thing that we have is the sort of associative nature of all of this. So you would have imagined that once we selected a few filters, something like July and so on and so forth, what happened was we were looking at one view, but this one view is actually sometimes problematic, because typically our business discovery is driven by our past experiences, right? So if you want to sort of look at one product, you will look at that product and identify the performance, identify who are the top performance and so on. But as a sort of decision maker, what we should also look at is what is not performing, why it is not performing, and if I am looking at it, what are the sort of what is the other side to it. And this is something called as the power of gray that Qlik offers you. So if we now look at some of the filters that Bishoy has applied here, say for the month of July, we have applied a filter on a particular team lead, and we have applied a filter on some of the asset classes, say debt, right? Now we can look at who are the, say, relationship managers who are selling this particular product TL under this TL6 as well as in asset class debt, right? So here Bishoy has selected one particular RM, that is RM32. So that is highlighted in green. Then there are other RMs from RM4 to RM31. These are highlighted in sort of light gray, or you can say white. So what it means is they are available for selection. That means that these particular RMs are selling debt as an asset class for the month of July, and you can look at their performance by their selection. However, what is happening is this HORM to RM number 2, these are highlighted in dark gray, right? What it means is that these are the RMs who are not selling debt as an asset class for the month of July, right? Now, as an organization, if you have a policy that all of the RMs should sell debt as an asset class, then you can straight away highlight that why these people are not selling this particular RM class. Are there any challenges? Are they facing some issues selling it, and so on and so forth, so that your vision is not restricted to only those who are top performing, but also sort of is extended to those who are not doing it, and then you can take action about it, right? So that's the power of gray, and this all is possible because of the associative nature and capability that Qlik has, and this is one of the patented technology that Qlik's associative engine has, which brings you this benefit. Now we have looked at this particular part. Now what we can also look at is many of the times these dashboards will be built by the team members at one point in time. Later on, you may have a need to analyze a particular dimension, a particular product or RM or anything else that you would want to sort of look at very closely, and that time you may not find it on the dashboard, and you may sort of go back to your IT team asking them for sort of update the dashboard for me. They will come back with the timelines, they will do the change, and so on and so forth. All of this doesn't happen very quickly in most of the organizations. Clicksense allows this to happen through its simple feature called as global search, where you can search anything that is there in your data. So right, for example, Bishoy is here searching for alternate equity, if you want to analyze that performance, and once you type it out, it will give you all options where alternate equity appears in your data. You can just simply select it, and the whole dashboard will change for that particular selection. Again, this is very, very simple but extremely powerful from the flexibility that it offers, as well as the power that it offers for a business user to analyze the data. So this is another thing that we wanted to show. Next, moving on, one of the very important capability of alerting, and we were earlier talking about active intelligence. Now, what active intelligence in a nutshell means is that if you are looking at the data and have made certain discovery, it should not be restricted to just the dashboard. It has to sort of come into real life in terms of the action it follows, right? We have seen it through collaborative notes. Another way of doing this is alerting. Now, here is a chart which shows us the performance of our team leads vis-a-vis the targets they had, they were following, right, for the month. And we can see that only one of the TLs, TL6, has met the performance, and it is highlighted in green. Rest of them are actually red, right? We can also see that what is the difference between, say, the target as well as the achievement, and TL3 sort of has missed the target by a long way. Now, what we would want to do is, rather than a business person coming to this dashboard to identify which of the salespeople have met the target and which of them have missed it, we would want to have an alert that directly comes to their mailboxes saying that, this is the RM which is missing the target or is going to miss the target, and hence you should sort of do something so that he or she meets the target, as well as the organization as a whole also meets their target, right? So here is a simple feature. You just right click and set an alert, and Bishoy will just show us how to do that while I walk you through the benefits of it. So what you can do here is you can just compare the two measures. In this case, the target that is set for that particular TL and the current or actual performance of the TL, and just put a condition where actual performance is lower than the target. Send me an alert for that particular TL. Now these alerts can come on various modes. They can be scheduled as well on various frequencies, something like you can have weekly alerts, daily alerts, monthly alerts, and so on, depending on your business case. You can also have very advanced conditions. Here we are just sort of checking the difference, but you can have very advanced conditions, as in what are the top 10 percentile, what are the top 3 percentile, etc., or standard deviation, say 2 standard deviation from your mean, and so on. All those kinds of conditions can be applied on these alerts, and then it will give you all those which are in this case the outliers, right? So here again there are multiple ways to schedule it. So we will just schedule it for, say time. Maybe you can schedule Bishoy for 12:43 or something, so that we get alerts in as by the time we finish the demo, right? So we will just schedule it, and we will leave it, and you will see that we get the alert both on this particular platform as well as in email. And if you are using Qlik's mobile application, it will also come to you as a push notification there, right? So this is in a nutshell what alerting can do for you. The benefit of it is you will drive adoption, because typically CXOs may not come to the dashboards very frequently, and if they get an email, chances are they will open that email, identify the performance. If they want to analyze this further, they will definitely come back to the dashboard. That way you drive the adoption, you drive the sort of overall culture of data-driven decision making through the alerts, irrespective of the other benefits that brings from the action and intelligence point of view. So this is something that we wanted to cover as a part of Clicksense alerting feature. There are so many other features we will just quickly cover. Apart from this alerting as well as collaboration, there is another feature that Qlik has added to its repertoire, which is the automation feature. Now these are all collaboration related aspects, but most of you might be using Microsoft Teams or any other platform for internal collaboration. Now Qlik can seamlessly integrate with those platforms as well. So if you want to send some data out on that particular platform, that is also possible. So for example, we were looking at who have not met the target. Here there is a simple table of all the RMs who have not met the target, and I just want to sort of send it right from this particular dashboard to my Microsoft Teams through to a colleague. That is very well possible. So we should just click the button, and this got sent to one of our colleagues, and this is the table that we just saw on the dashboard. So now you wouldn't have even noticed when Bishoy clicked it, but it is that seamless that you just click it and it is moving from one platform to the other, all secured, because this is again your own internal platform on which it is going. So everything is secured, and again there you can collaborate, you can take actions, and you can improve the performance, right? So this is another feature, again falling into the same bracket of active intelligence agenda of Qlik. Now there is one more powerful capability that we want to show you, which is the NLP, or natural language processing generation, and you can say cognitive capability of Clicksense, which allows you to not even sort of you don't even have to slice and dice the charts. You just ask a question and it will generate a chart for you, right? So it's like a chatbot that we know today. You just have to click this option inside advisor. Once it is done, you will get this particular window where you can just type some of the questions that you have, and it will generate a chart. It will also give some narration and insights about those particular questions that you ask. So just Visho, you can type out a couple of questions. Yeah, so top 5 revenue by RM, and here it has given you top 5 RMs. It has also given a graph for it so that you identify within top 5 also who are the top 3 and so on. And you have some insights also, right? So, and these are very intelligent insights. It's not just sort of simple insight. It is saying that the RM name is RM32 and it is contributing 10.3% of the overall, right? So you also get the sort of share of that top performance. And then there are top 5 items in the is representing 42% of the overall pie, right? So these top 5 are actually 42% of your overall, and the top performer is 10% of your overall. Now this is very, very important, because any one of these sort of dip their performance next time, you know that your organization's overall performance is also going to get it, right? So all of these are designed by Qlik and their product team in a way that it brings most important benefits and from business discovery point of view directly to you without any interventions or without any customizations, right? So there are multiple questions that you can ask. Yeah, Bishoy just is trying another one, but the point is that this is made so simple that business user can come to the dashboard. Rather than looking at charts, they can simply ask question and get answers in the form of visualization as well as some narration, which are smart enough to identify what will be relevant for your business, right? So this is the cognitive capability of Clicksense, and you can add these charts into your dashboard and so on. So we'll not go there right now, but just in the interest of time, I'm just sort of referring to this, that you can add these charts to your dashboard again and then refer to those charts if you need to analyze it next time. Now this is cognitive capability, and the last part that we would want to cover today probably is on the sort of storytelling feature. Now this is again very important, because what we have come to know from most of our clients is an essential part of their job is that once they have put together this data, they would want to present it to their management committees, decision makers and so on, for say monthly review, quarterly review, etc. Right? And at those times, it is a painful exercise to put this data together in the form of Excels or the pivot charts and graphs and so on, and then sort of put it again back on the presentation and so on. Right? So this whole exercise is manual, takes a lot of time and sort of serves no purpose, because you don't have a sort of backward reference or a trace mechanism to identify where did this data come from, whether this data is right or not. If this happens, then what will be the impact of it on the larger sort of portfolio that we have, etc. So all of these are not possible because these are manual charts, not integrated with each other. But here the benefit is everything is associated with each other, and here the added capability that we have in Clicksense is that from these charts you can actually create a PowerPoint like presentation that you can present to your management, right? So we will just, what Bishoy is right now doing is taking some snapshots. There is a feature called as text storytelling snapshots. You can just click it, it will take the snapshot. When you go to this particular tab, storytelling, there is a sort of PowerPoint like interface that you get, and based on that you can now create the snapshot. So we should just add a few snapshots that you just took, and we will see how the storytelling looks like. Right, so this is just a drag and drop. No technical sort of expertise is required for this. We can just very easily do this, resize this, add commentary to this, and your presentation for management committee is ready in sort of matter of minutes, not hours or days, right? So this is a simple but very powerful and productivity sort of will be multifold improved because of these tools whenever you have these needs of creating the presentations, right? So this is just a sort of sample that we are creating here, but this can be made much more beautiful, just like how you become expert in PowerPoints. You can sort of build these presentations as well. So we shall we will just sort of wrap it up on the demo here. And I hope this was helpful for you to get the insights on what features it can bring, how we can analyze the performance of overall portfolio and so on. And there could be multiple use cases. So what we showed is one example of it, but there could be multiple use cases that you can drive out of it. It is dependent on your business priority, what you want to try, right? So thanks Bishoy for the demo. Now we will go to the next section where we will look at some of these use cases, and we will also look at the approach to build it. But before that, we will take a small poll question based on the demo that we just saw. So we just have given here some use cases. If you have any priorities identified at your organization, you can let us know which of these are your priorities. And we will then move to the next section where we talk about some of these use cases and also the approach to implement it. Okay, thanks for your responses. I think we can move to the next section. In this, what we are talking about is where and how to start your analytics journey with Clicksense. Now, the important part and first step is to identify the use case, right? Now, this is most important because this will be driven by the agenda that you are having at your organization, right? And these are some of the popular use cases that we have listed here, basis our experience with the other organization or the clients that we have served. Now, one of the top use case is the relationship manager performance. Typical questions that we can answer through these use cases are: which are the RMs who are not doing well? What are the reasons for their non-performance? Are their meetings turning revenue productive or not? When are they having meetings? Are those customers who need to be sort of interacted on a set frequency? Are those meetings happening and not happening, and so on and so forth? So all these RM outcome oriented analysis as well as RM process oriented analysis, both of these are important under this use case. Second popular use case is on customer 360 analysis. Now, wealth management and securities being the sort of industries that they are, their clients are even more valuable than some of the other industries, like where we have lots and lots of clients. In wealth management, you will have fewer clients, but sort of ticket size of those clients will be higher, and hence knowing about them actually brings more value to the organization than onboarding a newer client, which is true everywhere else as well, but more so for the wealth management organization. So it is important to know which are the customers or families that are not investing recently. It is important to understand which clients are under investing with us. They can have sort of 2 wealth managers for them, and they might be sort of our wallet share in their parlance might be lower than the other competitor. Need to know this. What products can be discussed with this family the next time when our RM is going to meet them. So all of these are insights about your customers that can augment more revenue for the organization. Then there is portfolio and revenue analysis, identifying where what is the reason for dip, just how we saw it in the demo. Risk analysis, identifying overexposed markets, risk adjusted performance over a period of time, forecasting some of the things. All of these are the other use cases. And then there are product or scheme analysis. Many a times, in the sort of finance world, there are newer products launched, newer packages launched, and so on. All of these becomes very important to be tracked over a period of time. Their performance has to be benchmarked, and so on and so forth, to understand whether to continue the product, whether to sell a particular product at a certain fees, and so on. So all these decisions are based on the data, which can be identified as to what should be our next steps and course for a particular product or a scheme going forward, based on their past performance. Can be a use case very important for, say, product managers in your organizations. So these are 5 use cases that we generally have seen are popular across our clients. You can pick up any one of these, or multiple of these, and start your analytics journey. Once you identify these use cases, the next step in order to implement it becomes that you identify the data for these use cases, right? Yeah, go to the next. So next step becomes to identify the source systems for these use cases. And once you identify the sources, you would want to identify the data points that are required. Once you do that, you will also be able to identify the tools and technologies that you need to implement such a use case. Now at step 2, the technology experts like Exponentia and Qlik can help you identify some of these things as to what should be the source systems, data points, how you can go about implementing it, what technologies and tools can be used, so on, can be identified, presented to you, given a roadmap on these things by some of the experts like, as I said, Exponentia as well as Qlik. And once you sort of decide on these things, then there is the third step where what you can do is let us move to the next one, Bishoy. What we can do there is sort of have a predefined timeline and milestones for the implementation, where you have a clear visibility as to how long is it going to take, what are the deliverables that are going to come out of it, and you also have the sort of measurable outcomes defined for each of those milestones, right? So if it is going to be getting delivered in 8 weeks, what is it that I am going to get, and what will be the benefits of that particular deliverable? If we set all these measurable outcome criteria and compare what we are getting, then we can definitely have a sort of value analysis and value based implementation approach to show you the ROI of your implementation, also bring you the benefits and sort of sell the use case internally in your organization, right? So these are simple 3 steps where you identify the use case, you identify the prerequisites, and you set milestones, timelines, and measurable outcome criteria for those implementation. Now along this journey, as I said, we will partner you on some of these sort of considerations to be made or decisions to be made, and together we will chalk out a plan for your organization, for your analytics roadmap. Now with this we have sort of come to an end of what we wanted to present and show to you as a part of the demo. Next steps, what we have, our next section that we have is a question and answer section, where you can let us know if there are any questions that you have on what we presented, as well as if there are any other things that you would want to discuss. Do let us know in the chat box where you can write the questions, and we will be happy to take them.
Yes, so we have a question. How long does it take to implement a use case?
Okay. So now this is a very broad question, but generally what we have seen, as we also highlighted in the approach, there are prerequisites. So once you identify your use case, there are prerequisites to be identified, like the source systems, the data points. Once you have identified that, and once they are in place, typically it takes about 6 to 8 weeks, I would say, to deliver and complete one dashboard, the one that you saw in the demo, something like that. If the prerequisites are available, we will be able to deliver it in something like 8 weeks of time. Yeah. Anything, Himanshu, you would want to add to answer that?
No, I agree, Rishi. I think this is something which is very organization dependent. So while use case as a whole might look one thing, but I think it is the underlying granularity or details which would typically dictate how much time and effort it would take to implement the use case. But yeah, as a broader rule, I guess what you said, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
So we have one more question. What is active intelligence?
So let me take that. So active intelligence is the philosophy that is today driving the future developments at Qlik, right? So the idea is, how do we go from a passive BI environment to an environment which prompt actions from the users, which assists users in their respective jobs that they have to perform every day, right? So the previous generation BI tools, as we say it, they would provide your reports, your charts, generally available prepared on a data which is not always up to date, and most of the time it is always a post facto analysis. From that we are going into an active intelligence world where people are context aware in specific business moments, and they can take those decisions in real time and seize the moment by taking appropriate action. And how the system helps you in doing that is by bringing in real-time data from various kind of transaction systems that you have deployed in your environment, be able to generate insights on that data in real time, and then prompt users for the action, be it through alerting, be it through some prompts wherein people can take some corrective action as and when the event is actually happening, or even go a step further and maybe take action on behalf of a user following some predefined rules and policies, so that we are complementing a user's task. So a world in which Qlik and the user is constantly interacting and evolving in real time and helping make them informed, time sensitive, real time decisions. That's the world of active intelligence that we foresee.
Thanks, Himanshu. Any more questions, Rashika?
So since we do not have any more questions, we'll be closing the discussion here. But you can contact us anytime through our website, LinkedIn page, or email us at engage@exponentia.ai to discuss any of the topics discussed today. Thank you all for joining us. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good day.